Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby of Shelby and the Book Club and Shelby and the Bookstore. And in today's video, we are going to do my January wrap up. I'm also going to talk to you guys about how these wrap up videos will flow from here on out. So if you would like to hear it, here it go. First, let me say that I need to hire somebody to do something about all these goddamn books in here, okay? Because it is y'all see it's some books that fell off up there and they just sitting right there on a pile of boxes that probably got books in it too. We not even fixing to talk about it. So let's talk about how these wrap-ups are going to go going forward. So lots to talk about. So we'll talk about how many books I read, and we'll talk about stats. How many of them were physical books? How many of them were audiobooks, if any? I will try to remember to put on the screen whether, like, what genre they were, or I'll talk about it throughout as I'm going through each book. We'll talk about the A to Z challenge, and we will talk about my DNFs for the month as well. Okay, so that is how I plan to do the wrap-ups going forward. I feel like before I was just telling y'all what I read and if I like them or not, and not really kind of giving you stats for each month. Again, this is also for my my records too, so that like at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, I can kind of go back and see, okay, this is all that I read, so on and so forth and beyond. What I also would like to do, but I don't have it prepared for this month, for January, because I haven't finished putting in the my entries in my reading journal, is to do a reading journal flip through at the end of my January wrap-ups, just so that you guys can see what my journal looks like and how far I've gotten into them and so on and so forth. So with all of that said, let's get into stats. So I read a total of 7 books this month. All of them were not what I talked about in my January TBR video, which is fine. Those are books that I want to read, and maybe I will get to them, maybe I won't. I'm super proud of myself for reading 7. The month of January towards the end got a little rough for me because my mom was sick. If you follow my daily vlogs, then you know that, because the vlogs kind of fell off. And this last week of the month, I have been playing catch up, like reading like crazy to finish books and so on and so forth. 2 of them were audiobooks, and they were very impromptu audiobooks, like not books that I had planned to read right now, but sometimes I just need something to listen to. Sometimes I need something right on a whim, and that happens to happen. So out of the 7, 2 of them were audiobooks. The rest of them were all the physical copies. Or let's see, with Will and As the Wicked Watch, I listened to some of it. I read most of it. So I'm just going to consider that for the physical copies. So those are stats for the month. I feel like I did a pretty good job. According to Goodreads, I am a book ahead of myself. So I'm super proud. I did it. And for next month, for February, you'll see the February TBR video before you see this one. For February, I have a pretty intense TBR, and I'm doing some things a little bit differently because I'm just planning things out and so on and so forth. So there is that. So first on the list, let's talk about the audiobooks that I read. I will put pictures of them up on the screen. So first, we are going to talk about Heavy by Keith Lemon. I believe that's how you say his last name. And oh my God, it is not a long listen. I think it's maybe 5 or 6 hours. If you guys have a subscription to Scribd, which I feel like everyone should have a subscription to Scribd if you are able to afford it, because it's $9.99 a month and you have access to a whole bunch of audiobooks that you don't have to, audiobooks and ebooks, but that you don't have to pay like extra credits for and stuff like that. So I really think it's cool, and that's how I've been listening to audiobooks lately. But I listened to Heavy, and it is indeed heavy. He talks about what it was like growing up, his trauma, his relationship with his mother. And I think reading nonfiction is one thing, because you can feel it, right? If the writer is good, you can feel what they're trying to say. But hearing his voice while I was listening to his life story did something to me. So I highly suggest Heavy if you hadn't. And I feel like I'm late on the bandwagon. I feel like it's something that everyone has read already. But it was truly amazing. Like, there were parts that I had to go back to, but it was truly a phenomenal book. The next audiobook I listened to is The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. Again, another short audiobook. I actually listened to this. Mom and I had a funeral that we had to attend, and I was listening to it. And the reason that I'm laughing, you guys will understand in a second. I was listening to it in the car with my mother, traveling in between to the church, from the church to the funeral, to the cemetery, from the cemetery to the the repast. And let me tell you something. Was it an interesting book? Yes. Was it a good book? Yes. I have never in my life listened to a book that involved so much sex in it ever in my life. I was in the car like, my mother is in the vehicle with me. Can we tone this down? Could I have gotten a warning or something? Dear God, it was a mess. It was a mess. But I think the point of the book is that church ladies are more than just these women that go to church. They are insecure. They are sexual. They are queer. They are motherless children. They are a whole lot of different things. But there was just a lot of dang sex. I think the one story that stands out to me the most, I can't remember what the title of it was, or what the title of that chapter was, but the girl's mother is having an affair with the pastor of their church, and has been doing this since the girl was young. And they would be like having sex while she was in the other room. And, during the act, her mother would be, oh God, oh my God, oh my God. So she thought the pastor was God. She thought he was God because it was a mess. But, again, I see what all the rave about it was. Again, I think for people that may heavily be involved in church, and I think the issue that I have with church is because, to me, it comes across as another way for us to assimilate, another way for us to less be like ourselves and be more like what we're supposed to be like, whatever that means. And it's an environment where a lot of the women are judgy and trying to hold up this look of what they feel that they should be, so that they can satisfy the men in their lives, so that they can, be good wives and all of this other stuff, right? When in all actuality, those things might be detrimental to them. Those things are hurting them because they are so much more than just this facade that they may be putting up. And I think it also is that thing that I'm always saying of like, two things can be true at once. You can be a really, really good church lady, but you also can have an amazing sex life at the same time. You can also be queer. You can also go to therapy. You can also do all of these other things. So those were the two audiobooks that I listened to two very, very good audiobooks that I definitely would recommend you guys to listen to. Okay, first, let's just get it out the way with what my favorite read of the month was, which was The Stationery Shop by Marjan Kamali. If you guys have not, I really, 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 really think you should watch my video of the review that I did of that. It is a romance, a historical fiction that made me cry. Believe it or not, it made me cry. And your girl is not the type to read a book and cry. So it was a very amazing book. And if you want to know more details about how I felt about that one, you can watch the video. I will link it up there. So next, since we're in the bit of talking about historical fictions, let's talk about something else that I plan to do a book review for. A More Perfect Union. So A More Perfect Union is about Henry and Sarah, who Henry is an American immigrant. Well, he's not an American immigrant. He's an Irish immigrant that has come to America in 1848 to escape the famine in Ireland. And he gets a bumpy start, but he ends up being a blacksmith on this plantation where he meets Sarah, who is a recently purchased slave on this plantation, and they fall in love with each other. And it goes back and forth. I won't give too much detail because there is a review video coming, but it goes into detail about his feelings as a white man that has suffered because the famine in Ireland, his traveling to the United States, and all of that was indeed difficult. But it talks about the disconnect between him comparing his trauma to hers as a slave, which is very, very different. And I found myself, even though this book is very enjoyable, it was giving me trauma bond. It was giving me it was giving me insensitivity. It was giving me that no matter where the white man is from, he don't care about shit but himself, and he can't see things outside of himself. And that although he happens to be in love with this, I said I wasn't going to go into much detail, but although he happens to be in love with a black woman who is a slave, I don't think he really cares about black people as much as he does Sarah. So overall, I enjoyed reading this. I do recommend it. I think it touches on a lot of different topics that are important, things that we should be talking about. So yeah, this was pretty good. I just be tossing books on my bed. Next, we have A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. Now, this is something that I would not have picked up on my own. Quality smut. Quality smut. It is a sapphic romance, if that's something that you're looking for. And it's the story of Dracula and his brides. And it's a short read. If you're looking for fantasy, romance, if you like Dracula, it gives very much historical fiction vibes as well, which I'm learning that Shelby actually likes historical fiction. So far, 3 of these books are historical fiction technically. I think this one more qualifies as fantasy because it is sort of a Dracula retelling. Not sort of, it is a Dracula retelling, but it does give you historical fiction vibes. I realized that maybe I don't like Dracula. It also made me realize that I don't remember reading. I know I read it, but I don't remember when I read Dracula, and it made me go look to see like, oh, maybe I should grab Dracula and read it. And then I realized it's almost 500 pages. And I'm not reading 500 pages of nothing in Old English, okay? I'm, whatever. But I thought this was a good story. I like Constanta. I like this. She had to do what she had to do. She happens into this relationship where she becomes a vampire and she falls in love. I think it touches on very much, it's giving very much abused woman vibes, but she's a vampire, if that makes any sense. But anyway, and then last on the list, before we go into my DNFs, which I only have one, we're going to talk about the book club picks. So, of course, we read Will. You see where I was reading the physical book and then went on to the audiobook and then picked this back up. This was an amazing book. This was an amazing, amazing, amazing book. I think I had a lot of, I've always kind of, I don't know, like Will Smith has always seemed weird to me. That does not mean that I did not like and appreciate him for all that he's done and all of that kind of stuff, but he's just always seemed weird to me. So to read about his life and the things that he's gone through and the way that he perceives his life, changed my perspective a little bit on who he is as a person, why he has done the things that he's done, so on and so forth. So I really, really, really enjoyed this. And I think this should be required reading. I think everybody should read this. And even if you don't read it, I would say listen to the audiobook, because the audiobook is amazing. It is so good. So one or the other, either listen or read this, but I really think that this should be required reading for everyone. So I really enjoyed this. I think this will go as one of my other favorites for the month as well. And then last but certainly not least, As the Wicked Watch by Tamara Hall. I wanted more from this book. I feel like this book is marketed as a true crime novel. And I feel like it's more a novel about the life of a journalist, which is fine, right? Which is fine. But based on the synopsis of this book, I thought that I was going into this was going to be a hard-hitting, she was going to go after the people and figure out who did what and all of that. And it wasn't that at all. So I believe I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads. Which to me, like, a 3-star is okay, right? It's not bad. It definitely is a book for someone. I don't know who that someone is, but it's definitely a book for someone. I just expected something different. Would I pick up the second book in this series? Absolutely. I would. Because I feel like there's an opportunity for character growth and all of this other stuff. So I'd pick up the second one. But it was only a 3-star. I really expected more. So those were all of the books that I read in the month of January. Now, I have one DNF, and that is, you can see it right here, The Teller of Secrets. It was getting boring. I think it's one of those books, like I like to say, right book, wrong time. Because it has all of the things in it that I like in a book. It definitely does. It was boring me. I found myself hurry up already. Hurry up. Get to the point. But because this book reminds me of A Girl is a Body of Water. And in that book, it had its moments too, but it's a lot of character building, which I don't necessarily have an issue with. I think I started it right after I read The Stationery Shop, and I had come off of this high just to be like, okay, I need a fast-paced book. Like, I need a fast-paced book to read right now. I need a fast-paced book. So that was my DNF. There were some books that were in my January TBR that I did not get to. But like, for example, the God of Mercy, is it in here? No, but that I've decided is going to be a book club pick eventually. So things like that. Like, I didn't start them because I'm like, okay, I want to read that with everybody or whatever the case may be. But that's what TBRs are for, so that you can see what you want to read, you know, kind of go through the motions of, I'm starting this, is it holding my attention? If not, putting it back and moving on to something else. So let me know what you all read for the month of January. If no one has told you today, I love you, and I will see you guys soon. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers before April. So I think we can do it. I think we can do it. I'm seeing more comments. I'm seeing more things. I'm super excited. The YouTube channel is growing. When you water your things and you add a little bit of consistency, things start to happen. So I'm super excited. But I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.